Visited a clinic. The doctor examined me carefully and ordered a chest x-ray. After reviewing the results, his expression became serious. "You have pneumonia," he said. "Your lungs are infected. I recommend that you go to the hospital immediately." The news surprised me. I had expected medicine and a few days of rest, not a hospital stay. Still, my condition was worsening, so I agreed. Later that afternoon, I was admitted to the hospital. A nurse helped me settle into a room near a large window overlooking the city. The room was clean and quiet. I tried reading a book to pass the time, but I could not focus. My head felt heavy and my body ached. A short while later, the door opened. A nurse walked into the room carrying a clipboard. "Mr. Bennett?" she asked. "Yes." "My name is Jessica. I'll be helping take care of you during your stay." She had kind eyes and a calm voice. Her smile was warm and professional. She explained my treatment plan, the medications I would receive, and the importance of resting. I listened, but I found myself paying more attention to her than to her words. Over the next several days, Jessica visited my room regularly. She checked my temperature, brought medication, and asked how I was feeling. She was always polite, patient, and cheerful. Because I spent so much time alone in my room, I began looking forward to her visits. At first, I thought nothing of it. After all, she was simply doing her job. But as the days passed, I found myself thinking about her more often. One afternoon, while we talked, she mentioned her husband. "My husband always worries when I work long shifts," she said with a laugh. For some reason, hearing that bothered me. I didn't understand why. Every day I saw how kind she was. She treated every patient with respect. She listened carefully and always tried to make people feel comfortable. Instead of appreciating her professionalism, I began confusing it with something else. By the 5th day, I realized I was developing feelings for her. The realization made me uncomfortable. I loved my wife. I loved my family. Yet a strange part of me kept looking forward to seeing Jessica. When I was discharged from the hospital, Sarah came to pick me up. She hugged me tightly and told me how worried she had been. The children were excited to have me home. Everything should have felt perfect. Instead, I found myself thinking about Jessica. Days passed, then a week. I returned to work and resumed my normal routine, but my thoughts often drifted back to the hospital. I remembered Jessica's smile, her kindness, her voice. I knew these thoughts were wrong, yet I continued entertaining them. One evening, while sitting alone in the living room, I found a hospital contact card that contained her work number. I stared at it for several minutes. Then I made a terrible decision. I called. When Jessica answered, she sounded surprised. "Mr. Bennett?" "It's James," I said. She asked if everything was okay. I told her I had questions about my recovery. She answered politely. After that conversation ended, I should have let it go. Instead, I called again several days later, then again. Each time she remained professional, but I convinced myself there was something more. I began creating fantasies in my mind. Eventually, I invited her to my house under the excuse of asking for medical advice. At first, she refused, but after I insisted that I was worried about my recovery, she reluctantly agreed to stop by briefly. I carefully chose a time when Sarah would be away and the children would still be at school. When Jessica arrived, she immediately sensed something was wrong. She stepped inside and asked where my medical records were. Instead of answering, I moved closer to her. I told her how I felt. Her expression changed instantly. "James, stop," she said firmly. But I ignored the warning. I reached for her. Immediately, she stepped back and pushed me away. "What are you doing?" she demanded. At that exact moment, the front door opened. Sarah had come home early because she wasn't feeling well. She froze when she saw us. The room became silent. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Jessica looked embarrassed and uncomfortable. Sarah quietly walked over to her. "It's okay," Sarah said gently. "You can leave." Jessica nodded and hurried out of the house. Then Sarah turned toward me. I expected anger. I expected shouting. Instead, her calm expression hurt far more. "There is nothing you can say," she whispered. "Sarah!" She raised her hand. "No." Tears filled her eyes. "You made your choice." Those words shattered something inside me. Within days, Sarah took the children and left. The house that had once been filled with laughter became silent. At first, I believed I could fix everything. I called, I texted, I apologized, but Sarah refused to return. Weeks turned into months. The loneliness became unbearable. Without my family, every room felt empty. Without Sarah's smile, the house felt cold. Without my children, the silence seemed endless. My performance at work began to suffer. I missed deadlines, I made mistakes, I lost motivation. 3 months later, I lost my job. Everything in my life was falling apart. I spent most of my days alone. I barely spoke to anyone. I stopped taking care of myself. The happiness I once enjoyed seemed like a distant memory. 6 months passed, then 9, then a year. The sadness followed me everywhere. 1 year after the incident,